Last night proved yet again why not to turn away. They scored 4 in the 7th, 2 more in the 8th, and because of the victory are back at 500 and aiming for a 5th straight win today in Baltimore. So let's take you there now, and that's where we find Dan Schulman and Caleb Joseph.
Jamie, thank you. Things are going a lot better for the Blue Jays recently. 4 in a row, as you said, and 8 of their last 10. And a day today, Caleb, that is now commonly known as Trey Day with Savage on the mound.
Well, the AL East is always a beast, but that means absolutely nothing to Trey Savage. Look what he's done versus the East so far in his career. Check out these numbers. It's just been pure and utter domination. He said he was built for this, and every start that he makes in the East, it proves it. They really have no answers for him in terms of how they're trying to approach him. And I loved what he did in his first start versus the Yankees against Aaron Judge. He just straight bullied Aaron Judge, showed that he has what it takes to get it done on the road versus the best hitter. The AL East has their hands full with Trey Savage. He's going to see the Orioles for the first time in this start, Dan. I expect continued dominance.
A guy who pitched very well in his last start. Remember, the defensive miscues at left field cost him 3 runs. Savage has been as good as he was last year, maybe even a little bit better, Jamie, as the Blue Jays try to extend the winning streak to 5.
Thank you, gentlemen. We look forward to this one. A beautiful day for a game. Andres Gimenez having himself a decent series. So is Nathan Lucas. It's the Blue Jays and the Orioles coming your way on Sportsnet.
Doc was just an incredible worker, great teammate, probably the best pitcher the franchise has ever had.
Holiday's got number 22.
You have one of the best pitchers to ever step on the rubber right in front of you.
I call it the mad scientist. He was out there just dissecting guys.
The doctor is definitely back.
He was a surgeon. He was the best.
He had something, man. Roy had something.
Where will you be on June 8th for the Roy Halladay Replica Retro Jersey giveaway?
With Rogers Xfinity Internet, my whole house is ready for baseball. So this is where I buy all my memorabilia. Boom! Just got Clement's childhood glove. Mom. She's really come through for me. And this is where I stream everything.
Sweet setup.
It's all for you guys.
Michael, what is this?
Oh, yeah. That's where I keep my modem.
Get Major League Internet with Rogers Xfinity.
Yeah, Wi-Fi is just pouring out of that thing.
You're watching Rogers Blue Jays baseball on Sportsnet. And a very nice Saturday afternoon here in Baltimore, Maryland. The Blue Jays are back at the 500 mark for the first time since they were 4-4. They have won 4 in a row. They have won 8 out of 10. And they came from a 5-0 deficit to win last night by a final score of 6-5. Why don't we take a look at John Schneider's lineup here this afternoon, including Kazuma Okamoto, who hit a 2-run home run in last night's game. Charles McAdoo hit the other. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. had the big 2-run double. And again, kind of righty-lefty, pretty much through the order, the way it has looked many times this year for the Blue Jays with a right-hander on the mound, and they'll see a righty today in Brandon Young.
Making his 8th start of the season. Last time out was probably his best, 6 2/3 versus Detroit. 5 hits, 2 runs through 105 pitches in that outing versus Detroit.
The Blue Jays saw him last year in his rookie season. He went 6 innings, gave up 2 runs against them here in July. So they've got an idea of what to look for, although he does have a new toy this year. He's added a new pitch.
Dropped his arm angle a little bit, throwing that sinker, trying to run that in on right-handers. Will then throw the split, the slider. He's got a little bit of a curveball, but primarily 4-seam split and slider.
George Springer leading it off. A swing and a miss, and it's 0-2 on Springer, who's had a hit in each game in this series. 2 for 9 overall, but the 2 were very important. Doubled and scored the go-ahead run in the 8th on Friday night, and then singled and was one of the 2 guys to come in on the Guerrero double in the 8th inning last night. And he did not go around. It is ball 1, 1-2. So timely hits late in the game that led to the rally that gave the Blue Jays the lead in each of the 2. And as you can see, over the last dozen games, the numbers are starting to perk up now for Springer. John Schneider in a very good mood today. A lot of guys are in a very good mood. Winning will do that to you, and they're starting to feel like they may be turning a corner here. Maybe something psychological about getting to the 500 mark. Swing and a miss. Boy, that is good location there on that slider as Young gets him.
And sometimes even when you miss a pitch in terms of the location, going up and into Springer just opens up that down and away spot. You see that front hip flying. That's even after a pitch that's not strike, not a pitch that he makes a pass on, but it has effect.
One down, and here's Nathan Lucas batting second in left field today. Lucas went 1 for 2 with a double in last night's game. He didn't start the game, came on as a pinch hitter in the 7th, and then had a leadoff double in the 9th. The Blue Jays couldn't get him in, so they couldn't extend the lead, but the 1-run lead was enough as Braden Fisher picked up his first big league save. With curveball, and Young is looking sharp here in the early going. Did not start the year with the Orioles, got called up, made a spot start, sent back down, more injuries, called up again, and has been in the rotation ever since. The Orioles have had about as many injuries as the Blue Jays have had so far this year. They are banged up as well. That's how hot Nathan Lucas has been, and that goes back to before the hamstring injury as well. But he's come off the IL, Caleb, looking as good as he did when he got hurt.
And that's exactly what you wanted to see. He was really rounding into form right before that hamstring issue, and everyone just felt so bad for him because it was a rough start to the season for Lucas, but he really started to figure it out before hitting the IL.
And Young will get him back-to-back strikeouts to begin the ball game. And that'll bring out Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I think one of the biggest hits that he has had, one of the bigger hits the team has had this year, lining the first pitch from Yennier Cano into the left field corner for a 2-run double.
Everything about that swing was so free and easy, didn't feel rushed to it. The emotion you saw from him right there, that just tells you he needed that swing.
Swings at the first one here, and he'll bounce it through the left side for a base hit. So he's now had hits in 3 consecutive at-bats.
Watch how easy this swing is. John Schneider mentioned earlier today, just free and easy. Probably want to go to right center with that, but because he's so good, because he hits the barrel so often, he's able to find a hole. But I love his movements in the last couple days.
So Guerrero at first, 2 down. Here's Dalton Varsho hitting .265. Varsho gets overshadowed a little bit by the home runs and the Guerrero double and what the bullpen did, but he had a double and a triple and 2 very good and very important catches in last night's game. Gets this ball in the air to left center, but there's a lot of room out there. Taveras will make the catch, and the Blue Jays do not score in the top of the first. Trey Savage ready to take the mound here in Baltimore. For the Orioles, the bench coach of the Cleveland Guardians the last couple of years. Baltimore right now at 26-32 on the season. And a look at the Orioles lineup includes Samuel Basallo, who is DHing today, and as you can see, he has been swinging it in recent weeks. Pete Alonso hit a home run last night. Kobe Mayo hit one the night before. Henderson, Rutschman, there's a lot of power in this lineup, but none of them, and I mean none of them, have ever faced Trey Savage before.
Savage making his 7th start of the season. Last time out versus the Marlins, career high 5 earned runs on 5 hits over 6 2/3. But that line is very deceiving. Had a couple misplays in the outfield that led to some extra traffic, some extra unearned runs. I love where his slider continues to develop. It adds a evenly distributed 3-pitch mix, which makes him very, very tough on opposing hitters.
Taylor Ward, the left fielder, will lead it off for the Orioles. He's 3 for 7 with a couple of walks so far in the series. We'll see if he waits out Savage a little bit. He's a very patient hitter, 3rd in the majors in walks. Didn't wait out that fastball down the middle, swings through it. It's 1-1. How about that? The lowest chase rate, and a guy with a splitter usually relies on a fair bit of chase. And And look at the way he looked that pitch over.
Yeah, it's a great call. You want to be in the zone with Ward, but it's tricky also knowing he's got some power potential. Tread lightly.
That was the slider there from Yasavage. Fastball up and in. It's 3-1. Kevin Gausman looking on, the only Blue Jay starter not to pitch in this series. He pitched the final game at home, and he'll pitch the first game in Atlanta on Tuesday. That's high, and it's a leadoff walk here in the bottom of the first.
Let's take the defense behind you. Savage in the third game of this 4-game set. Nathan Lucas makes his 6th start in left field. Varsho and Sanchez in right. Very similar looking infield for the Blue Jays. Okamoto, Jimenez, Clement, Guerrero Jr. at first. Tyler Heineman making his 24th start behind the plate. Catching you, Savage.
Here's Gunnar Henderson. 0 for 8 with a walk so far in the series as Yasavage bounces in a splitter out in front of the plate. So other than that one fastball that Ward swung through, Yasavage has yet to really lock in on the strike zone. The command at times this year, the Yankee start most notably, has been outstanding. The walks are down from his rookie season. Now 1-1. You mentioned the last game against the Marlins. That was the game where Yohendrick Pinyango had issues in left field, a couple of plays that weren't made. But because they weren't scored as errors, the runs were charged as earned. And given how few innings, relatively speaking, Yasavage has pitched, if those plays had been made, instead of a 2.25 ERA, he'd have a 1.41 ERA right now.
Big difference. More indicative of who he's been.
Yes, he has pitched at that level, and the Blue Jays would have had a better chance to maybe put up a fight in that game. This is backhanded by Clement, shovel to Jimenez, on to Guerrero, but not in time.
Yeah.
Henderson getting down the line hard and is called safe. John Schneider looking back. They've got 15 seconds here.
Henderson busting out of the box. Clement had to range to his right. Slow developing play off the end of the bat from Henderson. Just couldn't get it turned quick enough.
And no challenge from the Blue Jays, so it's a fielder's choice. 1 on, 1 out. Here's Adley Rutschman. And he will look at ball 1 on a fastball outside. Rutschman, a switch hitter, batting for the left side. 52 games against the Blue Jays, 13 homers and 40 RBIs. In there with a fastball, 1-1. So far this season, and the season is still young, especially for Yasavage because he didn't start right at the beginning of the year. The strikeout rate is down a little bit, but the hits per 9 and the walks per 9 are both down noticeably as well. And you know what? And you can ask Dylan Cease this question. Would you rather get deeper into the game with fewer strikeouts or strike out a bunch of guys but have to leave earlier? I think almost every starting pitcher wants to pitch deeper into the ballgame.
Totally agree. It helps the club. It helps the bullpen. And quite honestly, if you rack up quite a few innings pitched as a starter, you're going to get paid.
The lead by Henderson. The count 1-2 on Rutschman. Bounced in, blocked by Heineman. You know when you're catching a guy with a splitter, you're going to have a busy afternoon.
Going to have to be ready. Really, really good body movement from Heineman. He's on that knee. Watch him kind of lift his body up and curl that left shoulder underneath to give good direction. That keeps the double play intact.
Throw to first, and it's off the glove of Guerrero, who is looking down at his mitt. And remember, 2 nights ago, he went to the dugout in the middle of an inning because he was concerned about a hole in the webbing. And that's the mitt, I think, that he was concerned about. He brought a different one out. He's looking at it now, but he's not heading to the dugout, so I don't think it went through the webbing, or did it? What's going on there, Kayla?
Yeah, that webbing is stretched out. A lot of times you can see him pulling right there. That string is loose. One of those strings is really loose.
Doesn't he have to go get a new one right now?
He signaled we need a new one. right after that play, but they haven't stopped it. Maybe he's trying to pull that string tight to tighten the webbing up.
And here comes a glove right now out of the Blue Jay dugout. So they took their chances with one pitch, and here comes the backup one again. We thought they had kind of fixed that gamer up a couple of nights ago, but given the reaction of Guerrero right there, obviously not.
Take a look at the play. Vladdy's ready to go. It's a fine throw, literally right through the webbing of the glove.
So Henderson's at second now, and the 2-2 is bounced weakly to first. Guerrero's got it. He'll make the play unassisted for the second out as Henderson comes to third. So the error is charged to Guerrero on the play. If you were scoring the ball game, it's a runner at third, 2 down now, and the batter is going to be Pete Alonso, who hit a home run last night, his 11th of the season. Takes it low, ball 1. Bit of a cool, breezy day, but a very nice Saturday for a ball game. Is Savage from the stretch, misses low again. It is 2-0. Lights are on here with this 4:05 start. Henderson the lead at third. And the 2-0 to Alonso, taken for a strike, 2-1. He wasn't sure about it. He might have had a case. That ball might have been low, but he's not challenging this early in the ball game. Strike 2 call.
3 straight sliders to start the at bat, then a high splitter. Alonso's not offered yet. Savage has options here.
2-2. Fastball in there for strike 3 call. Savage freezes Pete Alonso to get out of it and strands a runner at third in the process. At the end of 1, no score. Well, it sure didn't look good for the Blue Jays when they were down 5-0, but it was Kazuma Okamoto, Caleb, who got them on the comeback path.
Throws a first pitch fastball, and when we saw him in spring training, he was always ready for the heater. Loved that approach throughout every at-bat for him.
The home run, his 12th. He's now got 31 runs driven in. Jesus Sanchez is on deck, and then Ernie Clement. Just off the outside corner, it's 2-0. Looks kind of easy and a little bit sneaky on that fastball. He's got a nice, easy delivery. Young does. He's 6'6". That might help. And it just kind of gets on you. This is in the air to left field. It is deep and caught right at the wall. Taylor Ward reaching up right to the top of the fence to make the catch.
Well, it sounded like it might have been just a hair low on the barrel. You see Ward tracking. That ball just kept carrying it. And then at the very last second reaches up. Probably would have hit the top of the wall. But Ward was able to have a beat on it the entire time. 4 years ago, that's a homer.
I was going to say, in the original dimensions, that's 15 feet over the wall, but They have made a couple of changes here. They moved it. The first move was even further back and higher. Then they kind of split the difference and brought it back in a bit. But the original dimensions here at Camden Yards, that would easily have been a home run. Here's Jesus Sanchez. So last year, when Brandon Young was a rookie with the Orioles, he faced the Marlins when Sanchez was there. And then Sanchez got traded to the Astros. And Young pitched twice against the Astros while Sanchez was there. So Sanchez has 9 at-bats against him. And 4 of them hits. But he'll roll one out to Alonso here, who feeds Young at the bag for the second out. And so far, the only Blue Jay who's been able to get on base is Guerrero, although you can't fault Okamoto for the swing that he put on the ball. 2 down. Here's Ernie Clement, who is 2 for 3 against Young. That in the game last year between these two teams. And not surprisingly, a first pitch curveball. Was that a challenge?
It looked like it to me.
I guess not. Maybe Rutschman thought about it, didn't fully commit, didn't say the word challenge. So the home plate umpire, Adam Hammery, did not grant a challenge, and Rutschman didn't turn around to question it. Maybe he just had a little tickle on his right ear or something. But what Major League Baseball wants catchers to do is tap the top of their head twice and at the same time verbally say challenge. So there is, little room for error. Clement hits it foul down the line. Brandon Valenzuela, Charles McAdoo, a couple of guys who began the year at Buffalo, and here they are in the big leagues, and they're not alone. There's a bunch of Bisons in the clubhouse today, and they are contributing. They have provided meaningful, needed contributions. Check swing. Did not go, and it's 2-2.
Love it how Ernie just holds the bat. Watch him just check and then hold it right there. Nope, I didn't go. See, right there. Did not go.
Now full. Andres Jimenez waiting on deck if Clement can get aboard. Bounces it to third. Mayo on the run to get him. And Young sits down the Blue Jays in order in the top of the second.
Well, Trey Savage allowed 5 earned runs against the Marlins his last time out, which had over a run to his season-long ERA. But if you watch that start, the final 3 runs really stretch the definition of earned, which is where a statistic like FIP comes in. Fielding independent pitching. This reads like a pitcher's ERA, except it strips away any plays that were dependent on the defense played behind them. So you can think strikeouts, walks, hit by pitches, home runs. FIP takes those results, estimates a pitcher's ERA, assuming average outcomes on balls in play, and then you get these numbers. And when you look at where Trey sits amongst big league starters, just look at some of the names on this list, right up there with Sanchez, Mizorowski, Schlittler, Skubal. So while Savage technically had a 6.75 ERA in his last outing, his FIP was 2.17, which is much more representative of how well he pitched.
Arden, thank you. Absolutely. As we talked about, didn't get any help from Pinyango in left field in that game. I know FIP is something that maybe it's kind of tough to wrap your head around. It only looks at home runs, walks, strikeouts, and hit by pitches. It takes defense completely out of the mix. As Arden said, it assumes an average defensive performance from the team behind you. And FIP is a better predictor of your future ERA than ERA is, because ERA is so dependent on defense, and even the way the game is being scored right now. How many times already this year have you or I or Joe or whomever seen a play and said, That's an error, but they scored a hit, right? Scoring is just different right now. There's a 4-pitch walk to Basayo. Second inning in a row in which Yesavage walks the leadoff hitter. So Yesavige's FIP is indicative of how well he has pitched this year. But I think Pete Walker's got to be a little concerned here in the early going with 2 walks already.
Yeah, a lot of times when you see the scattering early on, it usually tends to give the pitching coach a sense that he's fighting something, whether it's mechanical, whether it's feel of the baseball, maybe the rubber, the mound.
Kobe Mayo, the batter. And that pitch is just off the outside corner. It's one that Yesavage wanted. You could see that, but he didn't get it, and it's ball 1. Mayo, a guy with some holes in his swing, but big time power when he squares it up. There's a called strike, 1-1. And I'm not sure Mayo loved that one, but it looked like it was right at the outside corner of the knees, or close enough. A couple of borderline pitches. One goes Mayo's way, one goes Yesavage's way. Just foul down the left field line.
Yeah, when you're pitching against a team that has a ton of power potential throughout the lineup, the best way to defend that is to put them on the defense, getting strike 1, staying ahead in the count, forcing them to hit the pitch that you want in your location versus having to give in disadvantaged counts. 2-0, 3-1.
Taken low, 2-2. The Orioles are doing a pretty good job not chasing the splitter right now. They have been patient on the balls that are down below the strike zone. And might that make Yesavage, Pete Walker, Heineman change up the game plan a little bit? 2-2. Fastball hit way up in the air right side, but out of play.
Typically indicative, Dan, that the team is trying to set their eye line a little bit higher and see the ball up, and so you've either got to get them to make passes on pitches up in the zone, or you've got to try and dot some fastballs down in the zone like we see Kevin Gausman doing from time to time.
Again, the 2-2, and it's bounced foul. Went after that 4-seamer that was down below the zone, but it does have to protect with a couple of strikes on him. A couple of guys who have seen a lot in their days. A couple of guys who have been at this for a while, and Springer and Gausman chatting it up in the dugout. Gausman, of course, started here. First round pick by the Orioles, spent his first several years in the big leagues, many of them throwing to you. Here's a member of the Baltimore Orioles. Swing and a miss, and Mayo strikes out for out number 1.
Well, we talked about the slider early in the game, that was a big pitch for him as the season has continued to move along. Look at that darting downward action. That's what you love to see from Yesavage.
Strikeouts are brought to you by Subway. Get 25% off any footlong on game days. Order in the Subway app using code STRIKEOUT. Here's the number 7 hitter, the center fielder, Leody Taveras. A .279 hitter on the season, a switch hitter. Number of years with Texas, broke in with the Rangers back in 2020. Spent the second half of last year with Seattle, now with the Orioles, as he hits a ground ball right to second. Clement, Jimenez, Guerrero, and they will turn it. A big double play. A leadoff walk, a strikeout, and then a 4-6-3, and it's scoreless at the end of 2. Are you a Rogers customer? It's Canada's winning inning. This inning, when the Blue Jays get a hit, you could win big with Rogers Beyond the Sea. The warehouse out beyond the right field wall here at Camden Yards. Stan Schulman, Caleb Joseph, Arden Swelling. No score, top 3. Third game of this 4-game series. The Blue Jays have won the first 2. And here's Andres Jimenez hitting at the 8th spot today, leading it off. Jimenez hit a home run in the opening game of the series here on Thursday night. Went 1 for 4. Did not start the game last night, just came on at the end for defense. And quickly in the hole, 0-2 to a very sharp Brandon Young here in the early going. Just waves at that fastball away. Again, it is jumping on them right now.
Yeah, fastball's been a really good pitch for him this season. 140 average on that. And I've got to think that Chris Bassett's got a lot of influence on Young as his repertoire just continues to expand. Slider, curveball, four-seam, sinker, splitter. That curveball's really been a good pitch for him in this game, pushing and pulling Jay's hitters. And then once he gets them going towards him, he rushes them up with that fastball.
Tyler Heineman getting the start behind the plate today, hitting in the 9 spot. Heineman was in the lineup last year here when Young was on the mound for the Orioles and went 2 for 2 against him. Fooled right there, and it's 1-1. So that swing tells you what?
He was rushed. I felt like Young kind of slide-stepped him there a little bit, mixing his times. That 74-mile-per-hour curveball just looks so slow, and then you back it up with 93, 94. It's just enough fastball to make you really respect it.
This one in the air down the right field line, but out of play.
I always felt like, Dan, 95 and above was kind of the number that sort of forces you to be on the fastball and then start to adjust otherwise. When you've got a pitcher that's 94, 93, that's when he's got a lot of different pitches. It might be very easy to sit soft, but then especially with his height, the way he releases the ball, that easy delivery you were talking about, it explodes out of his hand.
And he strikes out Heineman. So once through the order, Young already has 4 strikeouts.
We saw Rogers do this with the fastball to the Blue Jays in yesterday's game as well, just challenging Jays hitters with heaters. Might have to stay on it and get after it, even though it's not his most used pitch in this game so far.
Top of the order, George Springer, who struck out on a good slider just off the outside corner to begin the ball game. And a fly ball to right field, charging in Jackson. It's going to drop. Little bloop single into right for George Springer with 2 outs here in the top of the 3rd. Springer's got 3 steals on the season, stole 18 last year. We'll see what John Schneider was thinking with 2 outs and Nathan Lucas the batter. Strike 1 to Lucas. Curveball's becoming a big factor. Line right to the second baseman Holiday, who makes the catch, and the Blue Jays are retired here in the top of the 3rd.
Well, there are 100 small unsung contributions to Friday's comeback victory, including a pair of strong plays in center field by Dalton Varsho. First, he tracks back to run down a Kobe Mayo liner with 2 on and 2 out in the 2nd, and then in the 8th, he comes in to take a base hit away from Jeremiah Jackson. And as it turns out, Varsho recently made a slight adjustment to his pre-pitch setup to help him more consistently make plays like these, angling his feet outwards, sort of like a duck, in order to be able to move backwards quicker. That's a response to Varsho's jumps this season, which have been worse both objectively by the metrics and subjectively to the eye test. He himself has been frustrated by not making plays he believes he ought to, but as John Schneider said before the game, Varsho's always looking for ways to improve on the margins, and the Varsho we saw defensively Friday night looked a lot more like the Varsho we've grown accustomed to.
Arden, thank you. As Jackson Holliday takes a strike to open up the bottom of the third. How often, if at all, have you heard that before? An outfielder angling his feet outwards, kind of like a duck stance.
Yeah, first time I saw that or heard that, and I thought it was very interesting, especially talking to Miles Straw about it a little bit. And look, if you're at home, you can just stand up and point your feet right towards the TV and see how your hips kind of turn left and right, then open it up just like Varsho's doing right there, and now open up your hips. They're almost preset open. That allows you to get into your angle much quicker. These little inches out there that allow you to kind of move more efficiently, as you'll see him kind of walk into it with that kind of duck feet type of position. You can see it right there. I mean, look at him. He's even checking and looking down. This is a big deal to allow him to move the way he wants to efficiently.
So him doing that suggests that he feels or felt that he wasn't kind of physically able to get going in either direction as quickly as he wanted to, as opposed to it being a reading the ball off the bat issue, right?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. Just by watching him play, I think some of his reads have been a little bit delayed, but this is going to allow his body to get there even quicker if he does have a bit of a misread.
Swing and a miss, and Trey Savage strikes out Jackson Holliday for the first out.
Well, coming into this at bat, Trey was 0 for 7 on first pitch strikes. I told you, getting ahead is a huge key for you, Savage, then allowing him to make his pitches in his spots. Able to get Holliday right there.
Third strikeout of the afternoon for Savage. And now the number 9 hitter, the right fielder Jeremiah Jackson. A .247 hitter. Takes that one in the dirt, a ball and a strike. Savage got a big double play ball to win the bottom of the second, and for the first time here today retired the first batter of the inning here in the third. He had walked the leadoff man in each of the first 2 innings. That'll miss high, ball 2. Fastball fouled straight back, 2-2. And you can just see the difference between the high fastball and then the low, whether it's the slider or the splitter, and that was the slider. Just the eye level of the hitter has to be changing up, down constantly against him.
Yep, you can see those hitters' knees kind of buckling, reaching out in front. That tells you they're totally and completely fooled.
Now full. Leadoff man Taylor Ward waiting on deck. To the high fastball and another foul back. And you talked about how when it's 95 or above, you really got to sit on the fastball and adjust. And Savage has been sitting 95 here today. This one looks like it's going to get out of play, and it will, right side. Jackson, give him some credit. He's keeps fouling off some fastballs up in the zone, some of them even a little bit above the zone.
Yeah, well executed pitches up at the top, and a lot of times when you get a guy in 3-2 swing mode up at the top, typically you've got room underneath, especially kind of from that 9 hole. Typically some anxiety down there, and usually splits or sliders down underneath. Once you get a guy kind of going and feeling velocity at the top, is open underneath.
3-2 again. And hit pretty well down the right field line, but slicing foul out of play.
So you can see the progression. We had a foul ball straight back, then a little bit more towards the dugout, then closer to the foul line. That to me is telling the hitter, the pitcher, that he's getting closer and closer and closer. Now you know he's close. Now is when you go underneath with the slow stuff.
He loses him. A 10-pitch plate appearance, and Jackson wins it, working Savage for a walk. He did not throw him a splitter in that at bat, and he does throw the splitter more to lefties than righties, but he threw him 10 pitches, 5 fastballs, 5 sliders.
Would have been a great time for a split just to change up the sequencing, change up the looks.
So Jackson the lead, and the leadoff man Taylor Ward, who walked in the first, comes up, and it's ball 1. Called strike, 1-1. Again, 95 with the 4-seamer. Savage's velocity up just a little bit from his season averages here today. But 49 pitches in, 26 strikes, 23 balls, not ideal. And the 3 walks that he's given up today is already tied for the most that he has given up in a game this season. One way inside. He's just kind of fighting his command today.
Yep, you can just tell. You could tell kind of right out the gate when he has fastball command, and he's not going to be a real pinpoint type command guy, but when he's on the right lane. So if Heineman's set up outside, it's on that outer lane, not missing inside. When he's set up inside, he's hitting it on the inner half. Some of these off-speed pitches have been balls out of the hand, easy reads for the Oriole hitters. But this is what separates him from others. He finds a way to just wiggle away and make quality pitches when he absolutely has to.
Swing and a miss at a fastball, 3-2. And he just must not be feeling the splitter today. He's thrown 52 pitches now, only 8 of them have been splitters, and he's only gotten 2 swings on it. Of course, that's usually a big weapon for him. Jackson the lead, 1 out and a full count. Jackson is running, and it's fouled back. Do you think this is just maybe doesn't have a good feel for the splitter, so he's kind of had to veer away from it a little bit today?
It could also be matchup dependent. Sometimes you get into your scouting report meetings and you go over each hitter, and some hitters have very blatant slow stuff moving away from them type of tendencies, and so maybe that's why they're leaning on the slider to some of these right-handed hitters. But I think you got to move it and work it in there no matter what, because it's so devastating.
Runner goes again, and it's ball 4. Another walk, 2nd in the inning and 4th given up in the game. Wouldn't be surprised to see Pete Walker make a trip to the mound at some point here just to try to get a read on Savage. They don't have a hit off him, but they've walked 4 times.
Now this is the type of outing as a catcher you don't want to let it compound too much, and you might have to start working different pitches in different zones. I'd be trying to throw that split and just kind of see what happens now, because already walked 4 guys.
Gunnar Henderson, the batter. That was a splitter, and he takes it low for ball 1. Fastball that's fouled off over the third base dugout, a ball and a strike. The Orioles threatening with runners at first and second. As you can see, they are hitless in the series with runners in scoring position. A swing and a miss there by Henderson. It's 1-2. Went after a splitter up above the zone, and obviously Savage doesn't want to throw the splitter up there. He wants to make it look like a strike and then have it dive below the zone. The 1-2 pitch on the way, and it's lined into center, a base hit. Varsho's got it, rounding third, heading home. The relay to the plate, not in time. Jackson slides in just ahead of it, and let's see if the Blue Jays want to have a look at it. They will not. So the Orioles take a 1-0 lead.
Well, to be honest with you, I didn't think this was even going to be a play at home, but watch as Varsho comes up. He throws into second base, and look at the exchange from Jimenez. Turns all the way around, throws an absolute strike to Heineman, makes it closer than I thought there was even going to be a play. Look how he has to spin his body all the way around. Almost a great play by Jimenez at shortstop. Just a little bit too late. That foot just gets in there before the tag reaches the chest. You could just sort of feel this brewing for Yosavage. Behind quite a few hitters. Is not going to get away with too many mistakes to this Oriole club as they swing the bats pretty well. And at some point, you got to really make a good pitch and allow your defense. Look how close this play ends up being. Look at that leg just slide right around. Very unique slide there. Typically you see a lot of guys going in head first. Decides to go in feet first and almost had him.
Ward stopped at second on the play. The batter was Adley Rutschman, who grounded out to first in the first inning. Savage falls behind again. It's ball one. Like he checked the swing. The fastball comes in high, ball two. And missed outside for ball three. You got to believe Pete Walker is either going to go to the mound or make a phone call or both at some point soon. Savage is really fighting it right now. Ball four. Third of the inning, fifth of the game, and the bases are loaded for Pete Alonso.
You could tell he just doesn't have it talking to himself. Really trying to figure out something in his delivery, his release point. He just doesn't have it. He does not have it, Dan. But again, in his short major league career, this has been his separator, finding a way to only give up one or two in an inning and not totally and completely implode.
Obviously a very dangerous hitter at the plate in Alonso. He struck out looking in the first. Grounds a ball to third. To second one. To first. They turn the double play. And Yosavage gets the outs he needs. The second double play turned behind him, and the Orioles get just one. Full, yes, I got a double play. He is extremely frustrated right now. And Pete Walker talking to him, and obviously he's frustrated. He's having trouble throwing strikes. He's walked 5 in 3 innings. It is just 1-0 as Walker and Yosavage will try to work on getting through this and getting him back in the zone. Top of the fourth, 1-0 Orioles. Here's Guerrero, who had a base hit in the first. Looks at a strike from Brandon Young. See, the shadows are now becoming a bit of a factor here as we move into late afternoon in Baltimore. Guerrero lines it to left field, and that will get down for a hit. Ward plays it on a bounce, and it'll be a long single for Vladdy, who's now 2 for 2.
He told manager John Schneider during the game yesterday, I just got to get back to being me. And this is Vladdy Guerrero Jr. Just easy swing. He's not falling over. He's balanced. This is the type of Vladdy that we're used to seeing. When he starts to do big things, try less, John Schneider says. When you try less, you get more around those bases. A little tippy-toe action all the way around.
Got hits now in his last 4 at-bats. 2 last night, the first 2 here today. And here's Dalton Varsho, who flied out to center in the first. Fouled back below us, and it's 1-1. So you played here for many, many years. These shadows are going to become more of a factor in the next couple of innings.
Yep,
right?
I'd say the next 45 minutes, they'll be absolutely brutal. Will be almost impossible to see very tight spins, so hard sliders. I expect Trey to be dominant once those shadows get to the mound.
Well hit ball to right field by Varsho, and it's caught out there by Jackson. Varsho hit a screamer, but Jackson caught it. Varsho looking into the dugout. Schneider looking back to Drew Butera, as once again the Blue Jays consider whether or not they're going to challenge, and they will not.
Varsho just gets the upper third of this baseball, creating a little bit of top spin. If this thing had backspin, it would have been off the wall. Jackson goes back and then has to kind of curl back underneath, reading that top spin. He overplayed it, but then was able to get the glove underneath to secure the out.
Here's Okamoto. Blue Jays are starting to make some good contact. Obviously Varsho there. Remember, Okamoto hit the fly ball right to the wall in left. Ward reached up and plucked it. It might have gone out, it might have stayed in, but it was that close. By the way, the ball he hit, Caleb, StatCast tells us would have been a home run in 27 out of 30 ballparks, but this is one of the 3 where it's not. So I guess that tells us it would have been just short. 0-2 and a swing and a miss. Young will get him for his 5th strikeout.
Tries the old emergency hack. Could have been sitting softer, could have not just seen it out of the hand. Very late swing, just trying to foul that pitch off, but can't do it.
Young having a good afternoon. Jesus Sanchez, the batter, grounded out to first in his first at bat. Foul straight back. Big hack on the first pitch there from Sanchez. Thought about it, but checked the swing, and it's 1-1. Guerrero the lead, 2 down. Two balls and a strike. The bat speed has gone up in recent weeks for Sanchez, and the production has gone up as well, both in terms of his average and his power. Pretty good streak he's on right there over the last 18. It's this to deep center. Tavares still going back off his glove. Guerrero around third, and he will come in to score to tie the ball game. Another ball scalded by Sanchez. Tavares couldn't make the play, and it's 1-1.
This ball just kept carrying off the bat of Sanchez. Really good swing on the slow breaking ball. And he just waits on it, sinks into the legs, and then whips that bat through the zone. You could tell Tavares was close to having a beat on it, but just could not make the catch. Ball just kept carrying.
Now Ernie Clement lines it to center, and that's a base hit. Sanchez around third. He'll come in to score as Tavares drops the ball out in center, and the Blue Jays have the lead. And Tavares hearing some booing here in Baltimore right now.
Ernie doesn't get every bit of it, but he places it perfectly just off the end of the bat. Good level swing, keeps that ball airborne, but short. of the center fielder as Sanchez comes around. Really quick turn of events here for the Blue Jays. It's amazing how you can start to build an inning when certain guys start getting hits. Vladdy leads it off. Another really barreled ball by Varsho. Sanchez comes up and barrels a ball, and now the line just keeps turning over. See if Jimenez can continue that momentum. They say hitting's contagious.
Boy, has Sanchez been productive lately. A tough inning out in center for Taveras. So Clement is at first. And Alonso's not holding him on. Now somebody yelled at him, and he's running into first base to hold him. He was 20 feet behind Ernie, as if it's a 9-1 game in the 9th inning or something like that. That's a new one.
Trick play. Oh, Pete, how's my glove feeling? Oh, wait, I got to go hold this guy on. Oh, yep, sorry, nope. You don't see that very often.
No. Had they not gotten his attention and had Clement been aware, and I'm sure Ernie would have been aware, he could have been out there another 8-10 feet.
Oh, yeah, and you knew Mark Budzinski was all over it. If he would have come set, he would have been saying, go, 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 go. Ernie would have taken off.
Now Jimenez lifts the ball to right center field. And the catch is made by Jackson. The side is retired, but the Blue Jays get a couple. Sanchez and Clement drive him in, and the Blue Jays have the lead. Great food and great vibes all in one ticket. Outfield District tickets give fans general admission access to the ballpark in all 5 outfield neighborhoods. From fan favorite spaces like the Corona rooftop patio to the WestJet flight deck, fans can experience game day their way. Grab your tickets today at bluejays.com/outfield district. Bottom of the 4th, 2-1 Blue Jays. And let's see if Trey Savage can get it locked in. He's been struggling to find the zone. He falls behind a 1-0 on Samuel Basayo, who walked to lead off the second. So 14 batters now that Savage has faced, and he has started only 3 of them with a strike.
Not a recipe for success, but this is a huge inning for Savage. You always want shutdown innings after your team scores. Keep that momentum into your dugout. And especially considering how the first third of this game has gone for him, just to see his mental toughness and grit out there. Can he find a way to mix together and put together his windup, get some pitches over when he doesn't have anything going really?
3-1. The bullpen got up very briefly. It was Yariel Rodriguez, but then Savage got the double play ball to win the inning, so Rodriguez sat down. That was in the 3rd. And another walk, number 6. Has to be a mechanical thing, right?
Yeah, he looks a little quick between his separation when that glove and the hand comes out of the glove. He just looks quick to me. There's a little bit of a pause when he's really on, picks that leg up and then separates the hand and the glove. There's a little bit of pause when his chest kind of opens up to get into his windup. Looks like that arm swing is really quick, throwing off that hand placement where he needs to release the baseball.
Because the command hasn't been good, they're probably less likely to chase pitches out of the strike zone as well. If he's 0-1, 0-2, now they got to swing at almost everything.
Exactly. Not being ahead in the count then puts them into a more concentrated zone where they're looking. They're not as anxious. And you see that on the other side. You see that from the dugout. This guy's fighting his command. Let's really box him in, zone him in. When you have a pitcher out there that's dotting and locating, it makes you want to start chasing him around the zone because you're constantly behind in the count.
And that's when the splitter really comes into play. But again, he hasn't had it very much today. He's had a fair number of misses like that. They didn't swing at the splitter in the first inning, and he hasn't thrown it very much since then. Ahead 1-2 on Kobe Mayo, who skies one way out of play, third base side. But again, a splitter up in the zone, just not where he wants it.
And it's arm side too. He's got a two-way miss, arm side up and away, and then he's got some pulled baseballs down on the glove side. Those are tricky if you're trying to catch, get him locked in.
Strike 3 called, but Kobe Mayo wants to challenge. This closer look is brought to you by Specsavers. And it is a successful challenge for Mayo. So instead of a strikeout, it's 2-2. For Mayo. Well, last inning and the inning before, that ground ball found a glove and they turned to double play, but that one splits the shortstop and the third baseman, and it's 2 on, nobody out.
And Mayo just throws his hands at this ball. Typically when you get a swing like that, it's usually right at a defender and you're going to roll 2 right there, but perfectly placed right through the shortstop and third base hole.
They want to let Savage try to work through this, and also remember how heavily taxed the bullpen has been recently. Leody Taveras gets a bunt down. Heineman's got it to first just in time. Good play by Heineman. 2-4 on the putout. The sacrifice advances both runners.
Very nice play all the way around. Watch this bunt off the end of the bat. It's just going to hit and then just stop. Hardest play for a catcher, to get around that baseball, pick it up with the bare hand, and pick up a target while moving. Very difficult to do. Heineman throws a strike. Good court awareness in terms of the timing of the play. Very easy play to throw into right field.
So here's Jackson Holliday, who struck out an inning ago. And the Blue Jays are playing the middle infielders back right now. Andres Gimenez is looking into the dugout for clarification. Where do you want me to play? He's kind of halfway. Clement on the pull side is backed up. Okamoto even with a bag. Guerrero a little bit further back. And it's 2-0 on Holliday. But now we've got a challenge coming the other way. The call is confirmed. The Blue Jays lose a challenge on a pitch that was a couple of inches high, and it's 2-0. Pete Walker on the phone. Ball 3. Number 7. The bases are loaded. And Yariel Rodriguez is up again. And Pete Walker's coming to the mound again to try to figure out what they can do to help Savage and to buy Rodriguez a little bit of time. He's gotten 2 huge double plays already. That's why he's only given up 1 run, but you're obviously just playing with fire here.
There's only so many times you can walk the tightrope line. I don't care who you are. When you keep giving free passes away, at some point you give that other squad an opportunity to find a hole somewhere. He's been able to really dig deep and make quality pitches when he needs to. It's going to take multiple quality pitches to keep this lead intact here in the 4th inning.
Number 9 hitter Jeremiah Jackson is the batter. He walked and scored the 1 Orioles run last inning. He checked the swing, and it's 1-0. And they're getting louder here at Camden Yards. A pretty nice crowd here on this sunny Saturday. Top towards third. There's one. Did he step on the bag in time? Okamoto stepped on the bag and threw to first, and it's a double play. Will the Orioles challenge? They might want to confirm that Okamoto had not crossed the bag already when he got the ball. They will not challenge. Okamoto with some fancy footwork, getting the ball and stepping on the bag almost in the same moment. There it is, the throw to first, and it's yet another double play. Extremely high degree of difficulty on this play from Kaz Okamoto, having to get the ball and find the bag, Caleb, all at the same time.
The timing had to be perfectly. Look at his right foot as that ball enters in, the way he went after that ball, and then the ability to secure the ball and throw it over there, a strike to Guerrero Jr. It was just perfectly placed, perfectly timed, perfectly executed to escape the jam.
3 double plays hit into by the Orioles. It's still 2-1. The Blue Jays leading now, top 5, as Tyler Heineman leads it off. Brandon Young has 5 strikeouts through 4. Both Blue Jays runs came in the top of the 4th. A Guerrero leadoff single. Jesus Sanchez doubled him home with 2 outs, and then Ernie Clement singled home Sanchez. When the shadows kind of get like this, is it a little bit harder for an outfielder? Do they get a bit of a later read on the ball off the bat?
Yeah, that's a really good question and point. I think until the shadows get all the way past the entire plate.
That hit him. Heineman appears unharmed. He'll head down to first.
Once those shadows get all the way past the plate, that's when it becomes a little bit difficult for outfielders. But I heard the tick of the elbow guard right back into the mitt. That's one thing Heineman will do. He's not afraid to kind of allow that ball to hit him. See his hands hanging over, and he doesn't get out of the way. You don't have to get out of the way. You're entitled to your spot on the plate. As long as there's no attempt to lean into it, that's what umpires are looking for.
Leadoff man aboard, top of the order, George Springer, 1 for 2. Up the middle, and it's scooped up by Holiday, who will turn the double play. Good contact, but right at him. And very quickly 2 down. Here's Nathan Lucas 0 for 2, a strikeout and a line out. And by the way, as the Blue Jays hit here, Yariel Rodriguez is no longer throwing. So unless he gets up really quickly after that really quick double play, Trey Savage is going to come back out to at least begin the bottom of the 5th. Ball 4, a 2-out walk to put Lucas on and to bring Guerrero to the plate. Vladdy is already 2 for 2. And it is Star Wars weekend here in Baltimore, and they're portraying each of the Blue Jays as somebody from the dark side of the Force, and I guess not surprisingly, Vladdy is Darth Vader.
Well deserved. Especially after his numbers here at Camden Yards.
Little weak ground ball towards third. Has he got a chance? He is out by a half step. A good play by Mayo down at third. And the Blue Jays are retired. The only chance was to barehand it. Mayo makes a very good play. Still 2-1 Blue Jays as we go back to the studio now for an update with Jamie Campbell. A retro jersey giveaway. On Monday, June 8th, when the Phillies are in town, the first 15,000 fans will receive a retro holiday jersey. Buy your tickets now at bluejays.com/promotions. Trey Savage is indeed back on the mound. Look at that line. You don't see a line like that every day. Normally, well, you don't see guys walking 7 very often, and normally if they've walked 7, they've given up a whole bunch of runs. But he has gotten 3 double play balls. Yariel Rodriguez is up again as the bottom of the 5th begins. They haven't hit him hard. They've only got 2 hits, and one of them was a ground ball that got through. The other one was a solid base hit by Henderson, but there's been a very little good contact. It's just been the walks. But again, that's the splitter, and it's just, you can see he just doesn't have the feel for it today. Strike 3 called. Ward is called out on strikes for out number 1.
Well executed pitch from Savage. Hasn't had a ton of these, but goes on the inner lane a couple times to kind of change the eye level for Ward, and then zips a fastball in the outer half. I love outings like this when your manager sends you back out there in a 1-run game when you've had nothing. This just helps with the development, continued development for Savage.
Here's Gunnar Henderson, who drove in the Orioles run with a base hit back in the 3rd. Fastball fouled back, 0-2. So back-to-back hitters here this inning. Savage has gotten out in front of him, 0-2.
This looks more like the Trey Savage we're very accustomed to seeing. Ahead early, forcing swings, and then inducing chase late.
No chase there from Henderson, ball 1.
But these are the type of outings you really learn a lot about yourself as a pitcher. We've seen the grit and determination from Savage, but this is probably his most erratic start. He still found a way to keep his club in the game.
And Henderson sends it to shallow center, but on comes Varsho to make the catch for out number 2. Looking for his first 3-up, 3-down inning. He did face the minimum in the 2nd, but there was a leadoff walk, and that runner erased on a double play. Here's Rutschman, a ground out and a walk. Foul back, 0-1. Double plays to end the 2nd and the 3rd and the 4th. Challenge from Heineman. Remember, the Blue Jays only have 1 remaining. And this one is a good one.
Toronto has 1 remaining.
Blue Jays still with 1 remaining, and it's 2 strikes now on Rutschman. Now the 0-2. High in the air to deep right center field, but the ballpark will hold it, and Sanchez will catch it. And it's a 3-up, 3-down inning for Savage here in the bottom of the 5th. It is still 2-1 Blue Jays. Well, Trey Savage had to battle. That is obvious. And a handshake from John Schneider, a lot of high fives. This is everybody in the dugout saying to him, we know you didn't have your best stuff. We know it was a grind, but you did a great job to only give up 1 run.
Most guys would have tried to get out of that game after 3 or 4 innings, walking that tightrope. 92 pitches, only 48 strikes, but he found a way to allow his defense to bail him out a couple times.
I bet you he is physically and emotionally spent.
It's a great point. When you're battling your windup, when you're battling your mentality the whole game, it drains you. And he's going to be frustrated with himself right now. He's going to speak to the media after the game. He's going to talk about the things he did wrong, all of these things. But about 4 or 5 days from now, he's going to sit back and think, man, that was a huge learning experience out there. I learned a lot about myself, and I'm going to take that learning experience and move it forward.
Dalton Varsho will lead off the top of the 6th. It's 2-1 Blue Jays. The Blue Jays have won 4 in a row, and each of the last 3 have been by a single run. Last one against the Marlins, and the first 2 here. Varsho sends it down the right field line. It's dropping, and it's fair. He is on his way around second. He is heading for third, and he is out. No challenge.
Well, Jackson making his first start in right field this season. It's a ball down the right field line. Varsho has the read right in front of him. I think he was hoping it was going to get way down there in the corner. Perfect relay out to Holiday, and then he throws an absolute bullet to third base. Thought that right leg might get in there, but it wasn't the case.
So Varsho gambles with nobody out and is out at third. So they lose the opportunity to have a man in scoring position. It was close. Carlos Fablis was signaling safe. Looks like a dead heat to me, but the call on the field was out. Varsho, a very good base runner and not a guy who really takes chances, if you know what I mean, all that often, but obviously felt that once it got around that little triangle out there into the corner that he had a pretty good shot at it. One and 2 on Okamoto. Boy, and in a 1-run game. Okamoto was flied out and struck out. Savage can smile about it a little bit now that he's done for the afternoon, chatting with Gausman and Corbin. But boy, what a battle that was for him. Swung on and missed. Okamoto strikes out, 2 down.
So a lot of times when this ball goes down the right field corner, because of that angle effect, you can't really tell as a runner if it goes all the way to the wall or if the right fielder is going to be cutting it off. He's trying to see. You can see how long his head was facing that right field line. I wonder if he was able to get a full eyesight on Jackson, the right fielder, or if he just took a gamble right there. Very unique park configuration here at Oriole Park at Camden Yards. Usually they kind of even up with that right field line. There's a triangular effect down there, and the ball can really get down into that corner. Then you're almost guaranteed a triple. But because it wasn't hit on the barrel, it kind of nestled around there. Jackson was able to cut it off.
Jesus Sanchez, the batter, grounded out in the second, had an RBI double in the fourth. That drive to deep center off the tip of the glove of Leody Taveras. Both Blue Jay runs scoring with 2 outs in that 4th inning. When you watch Sanchez, you wouldn't think that he would be a great two-strike hitter because there is some swing and miss in his game. But this year he has been a very good two-strike hitter. 253. That's the 5th best mark in the American League. Not here, though. A strikeout as Young gets him. Number 7 of the afternoon for Young, and it's on to the bottom of the 6th, and Yariel Rodriguez. It'll be the Vegas Golden Knights and the Carolina Hurricanes set to battle for hockey's ultimate prize. The Stanley Cup Final begins Tuesday. Coverage starts with Hockey Central, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on Sportsnet. 2-1 Blue Jays going to the bottom of the 6th, and a look at the final line for Trey Savage. Again, pitched in and out of all kinds of trouble today. A career high 7 walks, but 3 huge double plays, so he only gives up 1 run.
He had nothing, Dan. He really had nothing, and it was really fun to kind of watch the defense bail him out as Yariel Rodriguez comes on the bottom of the 6th. An up and down season for Rodriguez, making his 7th appearance of the season. Been tougher on righties than lefties. See if that split has good downward action. He'll need it.
His last 2 outings have been better than a couple of very rough ones in his 2nd and 3rd outing after getting recalled. He'll face the middle of the order. Cleanup hitter Pete Alonso, then Samuel Basayo, and then Kobe Mayo. Swing and a miss, 1-1. Fastball runs in on Alonso for ball 2.
You know, when Rodriguez is really locating that fastball, it really opens up the breaking ball. But when that breaking ball hangs and runs towards the inside part of the plate, never turns out well. That's the type of miss you want to see. If he's going to throw the slider, you want him to miss on the correct part of the plate. Any breaking ball that is moving back towards the hands of the right-handed hitter, no bueno.
Ball 4. The Blue Jays have back today Rogers and Hoffman and Varland after all 3 were down last night. But Caleb, a guy they probably don't have today is Braden Fisher. Got the save last night, has pitched 2 days in a row. If Fisher is good to go, he's probably on the mound right now.
No question. 6, 7, 8, 9. He would have it lined up perfectly how he wanted to.
They just want 3 outs from Rodriguez and then get it to the high leverage guys from the 7th inning on. Can he get it done? A called strike on Samuel Basayo. The 21-year-old catcher slash DH. A couple of walks today. Splitter misses outside, 1-1.
Very dangerous hitter since April 20th. 6 homers, 20 runs batted in. Tread carefully right here. Very easy pop, very easy swing to it. Can go to both sides of the field. Hard mix to these type of guys. You got to use up, in, down. In, out, hard and soft. All over the zone. Keep mixing it up.
Out and back, and it's 1-2.
These are the type of guys, if you stay in one zone with one speed, they find a way to clip you out front. But if you can start forcing them to chase you around the zone, you can open up holes.
Shallow right field. Sanchez coming on and has to play it on a bounce. Throw to second is not in time. And it'll be 1st and 2nd. Nobody out for the Orioles.
Looked like Sanchez's first move was back. Off of this split, off the end of the bat. third or fourth time we've seen Basayo go off the plate. You could see that little stutter step right there. Would have been a shoelace type of grab if he would have had the right angle, but wasn't able to read it correctly.
Actually, a good pitch from Rodriguez, and Basayo didn't hit it hard, but because it was right off the end of the bat, that deadened it. And Sanchez did not get a good break on it. First and second, nobody out. Kobe Mayo, the batter. He takes inside, ball one. A strikeout and a base hit for Mayo. A one-hopper to short. Jimenez to second one. Clement to first for yet another double play. That was a sharply hit ball, but fortunately for the Blue Jays, it was right to Andres Jimenez.
The ultimate rally killer is the double play ball. Sometimes you need an atom ball. When it's hit that hard, the timing of Jimenez to get to his feet very carefully, give a good feed over to Clement, who's got those lightning fast hands to turn it over to Guerrero.
Alonso comes to third, but there are two outs, and here's Leody Taveras. Strike one called. Boy, you talk about Blue Jay pitchers walking a tightrope today with all these walks, but only one run so far for the Orioles. Down and in. And now up in the Blue Jays bullpen is Connor Siebold, who made his first appearance in the regular season. He was with them in the spring, but first regular season appearance as a Blue Jay last night. And was very good when an inning and 2/3, retired all 5 batters he faced. Called strike 2. Alonso the lead at third as Rodriguez comes set, and now Taveras will ask for time. And now the pitch. Swing and a miss. He got him. He got him to chase a splitter off the outside corner. Again, more traffic. Again, more trouble. But again, they get out of it. Another double play involved, and it's still 2-1. Junior Jays, presented by your Ontario Honda dealers, returns to Rogers Center on Sunday, June 7th, when the fun will start outside. The Junior Jays outdoor program begins at 10:30 a.m. and runs up until first pitch. Arrive early for games, inflatables, and live performers. Get your tickets at bluejays.com/promotions. Ernie Clement to lead off the 7th. Still 2-1. Still Brandon Young on the mound for the Orioles. Clement 1 for 2, drove in a run with a base hit in the 4th. But there is activity now in the Orioles pen. Right-hander Anthony Nunez is up. He pitched Thursday night and gave up the run that was the difference in the 8th inning. Walked it in, actually.
3 walks in that outing. Just could not find the strike zone. Jays hitters really locked in, zoned him up.
And Ernie pops it up, very shallow center, and it drops in. And as I always like to say, his short game is impeccable.
That's such an Ernie Clement hit. I mean, aesthetically not pleasing. I mean, his half of his torso's going towards the dugout. Watch him just throw his hands. One hand's on the bat. He just got a knack for getting hits. Nothing about that swing you would teach to a kid, but it works over and over and over in the big leagues.
Whoever's making all this, they only made one Ernie. There aren't any others like him. I can tell you because I looked it up last night. He's got more hits on pitches out of the strike zone than any other hitter in baseball, and that doesn't surprise you at all.
No, not at all. I mean, his hand-eye is elite. They say the barrel's overrated. Ernie definitely believes in that. There's a lot of hits off the end of the bat.
Now Jimenez pops it up for Henderson at short. The wind is playing with this one a little bit, but he'll make the catch. One down.
Catch every pitch with Canada's most reliable 5G Plus network and best 5G Plus network. Rogers, we got you.
Back at Camden Yards, Dan Schulman, former Oriole and former Blue Jay Caleb Joseph, and Arden Zwelling. It's 2-1 Blue Jays top 7. Clement at first, 1 out for Tyler Heineman, who has struck out and been hit by a pitch. 0-2. Tyler Rogers will be next, and it's just a good sign to see Rogers up in the bullpen. Remember the ball off the bat of Pete Alonso that hit him in the foot a couple of nights ago. Now, if he could just open that darn water bottle, everything would be perfect.
Come on, Grant. Help me out, brother. Thirsty.
Pitchers are not athletes. But it's great to see him up. That ball hit him hard.
Yep.
And he came out of the game, but he might have been coming out of the game anyway, so It was tough to know in the moment how bad it was. They took x-rays. X-rays are negative. He told me yesterday it's a little bit sore, but obviously he feels good enough to go into the game. You know, the funny thing about the shadows here too is it's not like once the shade has gone past home plate, you're done for good. It's like in strips that keep moving, so now they're coming back again.
It gets worse. Yeah. Now's the time when it's hard for outfielders to make reads. But Young has been tough. He's used that slow curve ball to kind of slow guys down. It's obvious that he has the scouting report on who's going to take early spin, kind of pitching backwards with that 74-mile-per-hour pitch and then rushing 94 up top.
There goes the runner, and a ground ball hit to second. So Heineman will ground out, but Clement to second. Now 2 outs. I think the Orioles have to be happy with what they're getting out of Young. He's only in the big leagues because of injuries to Dean Kramer, Zach Eflin, and others. Craig Albernaz is on his way to the mound, but 6 2/3, only 2 runs allowed. The runner at second, his responsibility. A pitching change here. Nunez to come in with George Springer coming up. Fans, don't miss out on the big 50 seasons jackpot from Jays Care. They're also giving away daily prizes, including trips, signed merchandise from the past 50 seasons, and a Mediterranean cruise. Head to BlueJays.com/5050 to get your tickets now from participating provinces. A really nice outing for Brandon Young, the Orioles starter. He's now looking on for the first base dugout. It's 2-1 Blue Jays. And Anthony Nunez is on to face George Springer. He gave up a double to Springer on Thursday night and eventually walked in the go-ahead run. Low ball 1. It's been a little bumpy both for Nunez in particular and in general in the Orioles pen. The Blue Jays trying to take advantage and extend this lead. Two and 0. Infielders playing Springer to pull, outfielders basically straight away. And the pitch. Yes, he did. 2-1. Springer today 1 for 3. Had a base hit back in the 3rd. Blue Jays out hitting the Orioles 7-3. swing and a miss. 2-2.
Blue Jays are really comfortable playing in these one-run games, but man, this is a huge run out there at second base to give the bullpen some cushion.
Springer strikes out. Nunez will get him. And it's time for the 7th inning stretch here at Camden Yards. Rogers coming in with the Blue Jays up a run. Going to bottom 7, and here's Tyler Rogers.
2/3 of an inning in game 1 of this 4-game set. Give up a single to Ward, struck out Henderson, ground out to Rutschman, and then had that beautiful back pick from Valenzuela to Guerrero Jr. on Pete Alonso after he got a base hit. And suffered that comebacker, but first time back out since the comebacker. See if he can pick the corners like he typically does from underneath.
He'll face 8, 9, and 1 in the Baltimore order, beginning with Jackson Holliday. 22-year-old has struck out and walked. Hit a home run last night. That comes in just high. Heineman acted as if he was expecting to hear a strike call. Didn't get it, didn't challenge it. And it's ball 1. Fouled off, or a swing and a miss rather, and it's 1-1. Another swing and a miss. 1-2. Center, it's hanging up, and it'll be caught easily by Lucas for the first out. Lucas out in left, by the way. Sanchez in right, because left field is the bigger field here, and it's where they think the Orioles will hit the ball more often. They want Lucas in the busier spot, in the bigger spot than Sanchez. Here's Colton Cowser, who's coming on to pinch hit for Jeremiah Jackson. Okamoto well off the line, but in even with a bag at third. The rest of the infielders backed up. Got in on him, and it's a weak ground ball to second. Clement with time to throw him out, and very quickly 2 down.
Just doesn't seem like much from Rogers. It's underneath at 84, 85 miles per hour, but he moves that fastball all around the zone to left-handed hitters, creating all different types of looks. It's not just one pitch in one spot. Different effects where you place that baseball.
2 down. Here's Taylor Ward. A couple of walks and a strikeout. Oh, and 2. Rico Garcia up in the Baltimore pen. 2-3-4 coming up for the Blue Jays. John Schneider has referred to Tyler Rogers as one of the lowest maintenance players he has ever been around. Give him the ball, he takes the ball, he goes out, he gets outs, he comes back, he sits down, and he does it again.
You love those type of guys.
Little tapper, fair ball. Heineman down to first, and Tyler Rogers has a 3-up, 3-down inning, and then being the good guy that he is, he goes to get his catcher's mask and hands it back to him. End of 7. It is 2-1 Blue Jays. Time now for a Blue Jays Central update with Jamie Campbell and Chris LaRue. Great giveaways coming your way this season. On Wednesday, June 10th, the first 15,000 fans at Rogers Center will receive a Dylan Cease bobblehead. Get your tickets now at BlueJays.com/promotions. By the way, Cease threw a bullpen here today. That is good news, starting to make his way back. Cowser will remain in the game in right field after hitting for Jackson. And here's Rico Garcia. Oh, no, it's still Nunez. I'm sorry. Nunez is still in the game. Garcia was up, but since Baltimore didn't tire, take the lead. Nunez is still out there as he starts. Nathan Lucas with a strike. I beg your pardon. Lucas 0 for 2 with a walk. Guerrero and Varsho to follow. And now to the Blue Jays bullpen. And with Gunnar Henderson, Adley Rutschman, and Pete Alonso coming up in the 8th, John Schneider wants Louis Varland to face those 3 guys. Not going to hold them back for the 9th and a potential save situation. He wants Varland against the meat of the Orioles order. And I know you and we talked about this during the break, and this makes all the sense in the world.
I love it.
Yeah.
And it also shows confidence in Hoffman to go back there in the 9th. I love that Louis kind of facing that heart and meat where the homer could potentially play in a 1-run game. That's how the game has changed, Dan. Highest leverage.
Count even now 2-2 on Lucas.
For so many years, it was just 7, 8, 9 guy, no matter what. And I love the way that the new game thinks about it. Your best guy against their best guys, because that could be the game right there.
Lucas fights it off. He'll be followed by Guerrero and Varsho. Lefty Keegan Aiken now throwing in the Baltimore pen. Full count on Lucas. Just trying to get on base any way he can, get something started with Guerrero on deck. 2 runs, 7 hits, 1 error for the Blue Jays, 1 run, 3 hits, no errors for the Orioles. Line drive, right field, base hit. Good contact from Lucas.
Such a good low ball hitter Lucas is. As he kind of contorts his body to get that barrel underneath. You really want to think scoop on that ball. So many times it's easy to get on top of it, smother it across your body. But he gets that barrel underneath him behind that baseball. Gets to first base.
He's a good scooper.
Love that.
Here's Guerrero, 2 for 3, a couple of singles and a run scored. And he lines it into right for a base hit. Lucas had to get out of the way of it to make sure he wouldn't be hit, so he'll stop at second. Guerrero is now 5 for his last 6.
When you see swings like this from Vladdy Guerrero Jr., I can almost guarantee you he is about to start hitting some extra base hits. We saw one in last night's game. These are the type of swings that lock him in. Blue Jays are brewing, as it looks like Baltimore might be making a pitching change.
Varsho, the batter, coming up, and the lefty Aiken is coming in. Dalton Varsho coming up, first and second, nobody out against a lefty. We know Varsho likes bunting against lefties because they fall off to the third base side. Do you think this conversation between John Schneider and Dalton Varsho might be, hey, if you're feeling it, maybe at worst you're moving the runners, maybe you beat it out? You think a bunt's a possibility?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a possibility, especially if Aiken throws him a fastball, not a preset bunt, but a run and go. Trying to bunt it kind of towards Holiday at second base. Alonso looks like he might be presetting for a bunt potentially.
Yeah, the Orioles are familiar with Varsho, so they are in on the corners. A lot of different things could happen here as the Blue Jays look for some insurance. He does not square, and he takes it outside, ball 1. Lucas, the lead runner at second. Guerrero is at first. Swing and a miss. 1-1. Varsho today 1 for 3, doubled, and then was thrown out trying to stretch it into a triple. And a double and a triple in last night's game. Two and 2. And dropping that slider in right at the knees after getting Varsha to chase one off the corner earlier in the at bat. Swing and a miss. Aiken will get him. And Varsha cannot execute and at least advance the runners here. So it's one down and they are still at first and second.
I just thought it was a perfect time to let it go. Try that pull type of bunt. At worst, you got runners at second and third, one out.
Here's Okamoto. 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts against Brandon Young today. Fouled it off, 1-1. Miles Straw has come out on deck to hit for Jesus Sanchez. Called strike 2. The Blue Jays failed a few times last night to add to the lead or execute in these kinds of situations. Still were able to come back and win the game. It's high, 2-2. Well, it seems like every single game they're in is a one-run game. 8th inning and last 3 have finished up as one-run wins. A lot of tight baseball here. Full count on Okamoto. He has seen a whole bunch of changeups in this at bat from Aiken, who does not throw hard. The 3-2 grounded foul. He saw another one, Caleb.
It's obvious they really want to get him out on that front foot, probably looking for a rollover to the left side, try and turn 2. But Aiken's got just enough fastball and just enough ride to kind of sneak you at the top of the zone.
Again, the 3-2, and it's hit hard to left field, and it's down and into the corner. Here comes Lucas. Here comes Guerrero, and Okamoto has driven them both in. Another big hit for Kazuma Okamoto, and it's 4-1 Blue Jays.
Huge hit for Okamoto. RBIs 32 and 33 on the season for him. First slider he saw in the at-bat. Because it's a 3-2 count, Aiken's trying to get this over, and it just acts like a dead fish fastball right over the plate. He's on it and hooks it down the left field line. Sometimes if you can buy yourself some foul balls and get back into the count, you can get a hanger. He had it, and he punished it.
Boy, what a big hit in a big spot to give them a 3-run lead. Here's Straw to hit for Sanchez. So you get the right-handed batter in there against Aiken, and obviously you keep Straw in the game for defense. So today, in limited opportunities, the Blue Jays have done a good job with runners in scoring position. 2 for 4. Clement with the RBI single in the 4th. The big 2-run double there for Okamoto. This is hit fairly well, but headed for the seats. It's the Orioles who have to be kicking themselves with all of the walks issued by Trey Savage. They hit into 3 double plays against him. Hit into 1 with Yariel Rodriguez on the mound as well. All kinds of chances for Baltimore, and they haven't been able to come through.
Yeah, the scoreboard does not indicate really the feel of this baseball game. 10 hits for the Blue Jays, only 3 for the Orioles, but they have had tons of traffic out there.
Albert Suarez has now gotten up for Baltimore. Louis Varland looking on from the Blue Jay bullpen. 3-2. Ernie Clement on deck. Popped picked up by Straw. Alonso over for a look, but it's back out of play. Another clutch hit by Okamoto, a 2-run homer to get him on the board in the 7th inning last night. Start that comeback, and a 2-run double here today to extend the lead. And it's ball 4 to Straw. And now Aiken's got to deal with Ernie Clement, but first he's going to get a visit from his pitching coach, Drew French. Ernie's already got a couple of hits and a run driven in here today.
Might think you're safe 4-1, but he's the type of at-bats you really want to get greedy. You got a pitcher that's struggling out there, force him into the zone, try and add on, continue to add over and over and over to potentially shake up how the rest of the outings go from the bullpen. If you can score 2 or 3, add some more runs, maybe you can lay down a high leverage guy. All these types of little plays throughout the course of a season, they all matter. Strike when the iron's hot.
The Blue Jays on a 4-game winning streak, matching their longest of the season. Had another 4-gamer just last week. They have won 8 out of 10 to get back to 500. And here's Clement, 2 for 3. Ernie pushing 300. He's up to 297 right now with a couple of hits today. Connor Siebold is now up alongside Varland. If it stays 4-1, it'll be Louis. If they extend the lead by whatever amount John Schneider is deems to be enough, then they will go to Siebold and maybe try to save Louis. It all depends on the offense here.
That's why it's so important. If you can push some more across, you can maybe rest one of those high leverage guys, whether it's Varland or Hoffman.
A towering fly ball, shallow left down the line. It's Henderson, the shortstop. He gives way to the left fielder Ward, who makes the catch in foul territory, and that's out number 2. So now Aiken will face the left-hand hitting Andres Jimenez, who is 0 for 3. A look back, and the first pitch taken inside, ball 1.
Been good, so good staying on pitches on left-handed pitchers. Andres has big hole on the left side of the infield.
Okamoto out at second is not a fast runner, and every bit of secondary lead that he can get could help him if he tries to score on a base hit by Jimenez. One. Fouled straight back, 1-2. Guerrero with 3 hits and a couple of runs scored today. Big part of this 3-run lead. Little bouncer towards second. Holiday's got it, has time. And that is out number 3, but the Blue Jays get 2. Kaz Okamoto, another big hit. Louis Varland is on his way in. It is 4-1 Blue Jays going to the bottom of the 8th, trying to make it 3 in a row over Baltimore. Okamoto has widened the lead.
Varland are both up to 28 now. Hoffman will likely join them soon. That puts them on pace for 77 appearances this season after today. You see Mason Fluharty and Braden Fisher atop that list. They're also atop the league-wide appearance leaderboard, with the exception of Tyler Rogers, who's maybe the one guy capable of sustaining this level of usage. These rates would all be well beyond the previous career high for these pitchers, which were all, by the way, set just last season. So eventually the Blue Jays will need to find these guys a breather lest they burn out.
Arden, thank you. Lucas to right, Straws in left. Varland's on the mound. Gunnar Henderson's at the plate. Bottom of the 8th is underway. Henderson, Rutschman, Alonso. That's why Varland is on to face the best that the Orioles have. Fly ball hit well to the opposite field, but that's the deep part of the ballpark, and Straw has room. To Arden's point about the workload that the leverage relievers have been getting, the Blue Jays would love to do anything to reduce the workload, but that can only happen by, a couple of different ways. Getting the starters healthier and getting more innings from your starters, or the offense really gets going and then you don't have as many close games and you can lean on the lower leverage guys a little bit more.
Yeah, I don't love those numbers, especially considering all those guys pitched very, very deep into the season last year on that World Series run. Typically like to see those appearances go down if you make a really deep run. Career highs for many of those guys in appearances, and to back it up with another potential career high is pretty dangerous.
Boy, Varland just dotting a couple of four-seamers. That one inside corner with the knees, and it's 0-2. Today is day 16 of 17 games in as many days. They've got an off day Monday before they start up with the Braves Tuesday night in Atlanta. So at least John Schneider knows he can give everybody a day on Monday. 0-2, and it's bounce foul. Dylan Cease threw a bullpen today. Hopefully he's back soon. How important has Patrick Corbin been to this team?
Steady.
He went around. Sure looked like he did. The appeal down to third confirms it. 2 down. The changeup from Varland to get him.
94 miles per hour on the changeup, but check out the darting action. It almost looks like a two-seam. Starts to curve a little bit right, but then just drops right off the table. Extremely tough pitch when you got to guard against 98, 99, triple digits.
2 outs, and here's Pete Alonso. Just off the outside corner. Ball 1. Alonso a strikeout, a double play grounder, and then a walk. One and one. One of the few pitches really where Varland leaves it over the middle of the plate. One of the reasons he's been so good, in addition to the stuff is electric. He doesn't miss over the heart of the plate very much. He doesn't give you much to hit. Ball 2.
Yeah, his spray chart has really tightened up in terms of how he misses, where he misses. Been living closer to the edges. Guarantee you Pete Walker's loving everything about this kind of new transformation and role for Varland.
I don't know if Pete Walker can ever really relax during a game, but I think the closest he might get is when Louis Varland is on the mound.
For sure. Especially with a 3-run lead. That allows Varland to really attack the zone.
Fastball that Alonso fouls off.
His mentality changes just a little bit in a 1-run game. Going to be a little bit more cautious, but you never want to give up runs. But when you have a 3-run lead in the 8th, that gives him the freedom to attack, to get in the heart of the plate. And as they start to mount something, that's when he can tighten that spread up.
Sharply hit, but right at Jimenez, and he will throw him out. And Louis Varland takes care of the Orioles. 1-2-3 in the bottom of the 8th. Fans, on Friday, June 12th, the Blue Jays bring some of Toronto's World Cup soccer excitement to the ballpark. The first 15,000 fans at a Rogers Center receive an Andres Jimenez replica soccer jersey. And take note of the start time, 30 minutes later than normal, 7:37 p.m. Get your tickets now at BlueJays.com. It is 4-1 Blue Jays top 9. 2 big runs in the 8th on a 2-run double by Kazuma Okamoto. Louis Varland took care of the Orioles in order in the bottom of the 8th, and here's Albert Suarez on to work the top of the 9th. Now, he's been with the Orioles for a few years in a few different roles. This year they've been DFAing him, re-signing him, DFAing him, re-signing him, and he just keeps coming back.
Riding the shuttle back and forth from Norfolk.
Tyler Heineman leading off the 9th. That is a good changeup right there, and it's 0-2.
Yep, nothing overpowering. Fastball around 93, cutter, that changeup you saw right there, curveball, location artist, deception. We'll use different windups, different speeds. He's got to locate to be successful.
It'll be Jeff Hoffman in the bottom of the 9th. And again, Varland came into the 8th because it was Gunnar Henderson, Adley Rutschman, Pete Alonso. Hoffman has had a couple of saves since he and Varland kind of switched roles in the bullpen. Hoffman will get 5, 6, 7 in the Baltimore lineup. Little soft liner to second caught by Holiday, and Heineman retired, 1 down. Here's George Springer, 1 for 4, had a base hit in the 3rd. And a called strike. It's 0-1. Tops 1 to 3rd. Mayo has it. And they get the out. Alonso had to come off the bag, but they get the out, 2 down. And that'll bring up Nathan Lucas, who got it started in the 8th inning. Lined a ball into right field for a base hit, and it seems every time Lucas is in a game, he's in the middle of something that really matters. Like, you look at the overall numbers, and again, he got off to an incredibly slow start. So it speaks volumes to what he's been doing lately, that he's up to 294. It's really impressive, actually. He's 18 for his last 37. Remember, he had vertigo early and was really struggling. But ever since they figured that out, in and around the hamstring injury, he has been swinging the bat great.
So reliable in the outfield. You might not have a single tool that really jumps off the pages for you, but so efficient and sufficient in the other areas that when put all together, just a really solid contributor.
He and Sanchez getting the start today. Piñango has not been in the game. And Lucas has a defensive advantage over both of Sanchez and Piñango. So Piñango's really going to have to hit to play regularly. Strike 3-1.
And you love that kind of internal competition. Good, healthy competition always starts to bring out the best in everybody when you're fighting for playing time.
Got a pitch to hit, fouled it back, 3-2. The Orioles will send up Samuel Basayo, Kobe Mayo, and Leody Taveras, 5, 6, 7 in the bottom of the 9th inning. That is outside, ball 4. Lucas reaches base for the 3rd time today, a hit and a couple of walks. And it'll bring up Guerrero, 3 for 4 with 3 singles and 2 runs scored. What do you like about his advance today?
Well, I like that he's been able to use that right field line, and now's the time I'd love to see him try and go yard. So he's kind of locked in his timing. Now sit on a pitch and try and go dead left center.
He did. It was a cutter and got a good piece of the plate. What did you see? Why did he miss it?
Just a little bit out in front, off
yeah.
the end, just a tick, but I still like this balance. When he tries, when he's really swinging out of his shoes, that's when you usually get those smothers. I like him when he's super balanced.
And as we've seen him do a few times this year on 0-1 counts for reasons unknown, he's maybe got quick pitch there a little bit, but he did not want to swing at that pitch.
When he statues like that, we call it a statue. It just means there's zero intent to even make his move, and he's got that very unique step, barrel tip. There's a very unique timing to that. If he knows he's starting too late, he'll just shut it down because he doesn't want to try and smother that ball.
Seabold has joined Hoffman. Oh, 2, very high. You alluded to it earlier. John Schneider told us before the game that he heard Vladimir Guerrero Jr. say to Carlos Fabulous in the dugout yesterday, I got to be thinking less. I just got to be me. Just let his natural ability try to take over. And Schneider specifically said it was after his second at bat in last night's game. So whether there's a connection or not, who knows? But ever since that comment was made in the dugout, Guerrero was 5 for 6. High again, 2-2. This one to right center field, and it's down for a hit. And it gets under the glove of the right fielder Cowser, and that is going to allow Lucas to come in to score. He comes up with it cleanly. Lucas stops at third, but the force was with Vladdy on that one. The force was not with the Orioles on that one. That is a gift right there from the Orioles.
It probably beats Guerrero Jr., but because he was free and easy to it, he's able to get the barrel to the baseball. Cowser clanks it out there in right field, which allows Lucas to come all the way around. There's the extra base hit we were talking about. When he goes low to the right side, lift typically follows.
Ground ball to first. Alonso's got it. Feeds Suarez. But the double and the error allow the Blue Jays to get another run. They'll take a 5-1 lead going to the bottom of the ninth. You're watching Rogers Blue Jays baseball on Sportsnet. One game still to come between these divisional rivals. Spencer Miles is going to be a big part of it. In some form or fashion tomorrow, whether he starts or bulks, we'll see. And it's an early one. Broadcast starts at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. First pitch is at 12:15. It'll be Kyle Bradish, good pitcher, on the mound for the Orioles tomorrow. What a year Miles is having. Blue Jays are not a 500 team right now without the contributions of guys like Miles and Valenzuela and Piñango with the bat, guys who have come up or who have been acquired and have really helped. It is 5-1 Blue Jays, bottom of 9, and here's Jeff Hoffman. No longer a save situation now that the Blue Jays tacked on a run in the top half of the inning. Samuel Basallo will lead it off. Basallo 1 for 1, got a base hit, has also walked twice. Kobe Mayo and Leody Taveras to follow. Hoffman 6 consecutive scoreless appearances, and as we talked about a couple of nights ago, really leaning on that slider. Drills in a fastball, 0-2.
The 21 pitches in the opener, 14 of those were sliders versus the Orioles. Interested to see if he kind of stays with the same recipe or switches it up a little bit and leans more fastball.
Splitter there, so he has shown to Basallo all 3 of his offerings, and it remains 0-2. Not throwing the two-seamer much at all when he does, usually to run it in on a righty. Heineman the target, and the 0-2 pitch, he got him, And Basayo may be injured. Basayo is grabbing his left shoulder after that swing. No way to know, obviously, what it is or how serious, but man, oh man, did he immediately show how much pain he was in after that swing.
Typically, you see the lead shoulder kind of being the one that feels quite a bit of the brunt, but
watch the right hand.
The
right hand comes off the bat. Here's Kobe Mayo.
That would be devastating for the Orioles. He's probably their hottest hitter.
He is a big part of their team. Again, the Orioles have been dealing with injuries at about the same level the Blue Jays have been dealing with them this year. You know, before we get any further, maybe a quick recap for people who weren't with us. Trey Savage's outing, 7 walks, couldn't find the plate, but only gave up 1 run, got 3 double plays in 5 innings.
The magician pulling rabbits out of a hat, allowed his defense to bail him out.
And that one runs in and hits Mayo. That was the 2-seamer that Hoffman will use to right-handed batters every now and again. And it ran right in and got a piece of Mayo.
Tons of arm side run on this pitch. It starts off right down the middle, then just takes off. Looks like it hits the guard of Mayo. You can see a little bit of a look there, like, is that on purpose? Would think there's 0 intent there in a 4-run game in the 9th.
No reason.
Just got on the side of it a little bit too much, created too much run.
1 on, 1 out for Leody Taveras. This is into right for a base hit. And it gets under the glove of Lucas. He'll have to play it off the wall. It's going to bring a run in and allow Taveras to come all the way around to third.
Lucas really trying to cut this ball off to keep the run from scoring, and if it does get by you, the speed of Taveras, he's really hustling around the bases to get to third base. You can see it was pretty decent direct line to it, but just unable to corral it. So he's flying around those bases.
And it is a triple and an RBI for Taveras. It is 5-2 with a runner at third and 1 out. And obviously Taveras doesn't matter much right now out at second. The tying run is in the on-deck circle. There is 1 out in the 9th inning. And the batter is Jackson Holliday. Down and in, ball 1. Infield is back, obviously. They are not concerned with Taveras at all. The only infielder who's in a little bit tight is Okamoto, as is often the case for a third baseman with a left-handed batter at the plate. Not close. It's 2-0. In there with a strike, 2-1. Holliday 0 for 2 with a walk in this game.
This is why those insurance runs are so important. Give your relievers room for error.
And this is going to drop in right for a base hit. That'll make it 5-3. Here comes Pete Walker.
See, Holliday's probably fooled on this pitch. Split middle down, not a terrible location. If that's more on the corner, probably swings and whiffs, but you can see how he just bends his back to get underneath that ball and get it elevated. Orioles trying to mount something here. Pete Walker out to try and slow things down. You got Cowser up to bat. He's been swinging early and often. Has not made solid contact yet in this series. You're looking for a 2-ball to kind of get you right out of this thing and get back into the clubhouse with a victory.
Cowser represents the tying run with 1 out of the 9th inning. There is nobody throwing in the Blue Jays bullpen. And it is getting louder by the moment here at Camden Yards. Now Pete Walker is on the phone. Maybe somebody will get up right now. We saw Seabold up an inning ago. Fouled off 0-1. And Seabold getting up again. So if they decide to make a move, he shouldn't need long, having been up before. Just joined the club here in Baltimore. Had a good outing last night. The 0-1. On the corner, 0-2. No challenge from Cowser. The Orioles have both of their challenges remaining. And it did look like it did catch the plate. Holiday being held on by Guerrero. And the 0-2 pitch from Hoffman is hit to right. It's dropping and it's fair. All the way down into the corner. Holiday will be held on a double by Cowser.
The 0-2 extra base hits are absolute backbreakers. You're in the driver's seat. You're thinking Barry with this slider, but that slider just backs up and it allows Cowser to meet barrel to baseball. All the way into the corner. And now the Orioles have turned their lineup over to the top.
The tying run at second, the winning run at the plate, and here's Taylor Ward. That'll miss outside, ball 1. It started with a strikeout, and then they hit batter. Mayo hit by a pitch. And then triple, single, double since. Now 2-0 on Ward. Two in, 2 on. The tying run out at second. And the 2-0. Inside, ball 3. Gunnar Henderson on deck. Inside, ball 4, and that'll load the bases. And now, what does John Schneider do? Hoffman will stay. Henderson the batter. Mark Budzinski, Carlos Fablis positioning defenders, but Hoffman stays to face Henderson. Outside, ball 1.
Got to find a way to locate a fastball. Sliders are backing up. You got to get back into the count somehow and force them to hit a heater.
Misses very high, 2-0. challenged by Heineman.
Catcher challenge to pitch.
It is ball 3, and the Blue Jays are out of challenges. The 3-0 in there, 3-1. They have turned 4 double plays in this game. Can Hoffman get Henderson to hit a ground ball at somebody? It bounces away. It's ball 4. The run will come in to score anyway. It's a bases loaded one to Henderson to make it 5-4, and John Schneider looks like he's coming to the mound. This inning has just completely unraveled on Jeff Hoffman, and here comes Schneider. He has not made the signal yet. And he made the call. Connor Siebold, in his second appearance as a Blue Jay, is coming in an extremely tough situation. So here is Connor Siebold, who made his Blue Jay debut last night when an inning and 2/3 retired all 5 batters he faced, including the 2 guys, 1 for sure, 2 maybe, that he's going to face here in this game in Rutschman and Alonso. But you talk about being brought in to a tough spot. It was 5-1 going to the 9th. It's 5-4 right now, and the bases are loaded with just 1 out.
Give up a base hit, you probably lose the game. So the game is on the shoulders of Siebold. Fastball's been playing up for him. You got to try and sniff out a K at some point to relieve a little bit of this pressure.
The batter is Adley Rutschman, 0 for 3 with a walk. He struck out against Siebold last night. It's through the legs of Heineman, but he finds it in time. And Cowser remains at third.
Almost a devastating play. Watch how it hits off of Heineman and actually hits home plate umpire Adam Hammery. Otherwise, that scoots all the way back to the backstop. Umpire might have saved the day right there.
Infield is in for the Blue Jays. Clement a little deeper than the others. And here's the 1-0. He missed outside, ball 2. Back-to-back changeups to start him. Cowser at third, Ward at second, Henderson at first. And the 2-0 pitch. Not close, and it's 3-0. And a pitch away from potentially walking in the tying run. Now the 3-0. There's a strike, 3-1. Siebold sets and deals. And it's hit hard but foul down the line, 3-2.
Rutschman really early on that fastball. Hasn't been able to throw a changeup over for a strike, but a swing like that typically leads you to believe he might be vulnerable on the changeup, but you got bases loaded in a 1-run game.
Rutschman waiting. Siebold shakes off Heineman, now has the sign. And the 3-2 pitch is outside, ball 4, and that'll tie the game. Just an unbelievable turn of events here in the bottom of the ninth after the Blue Jays took a 4-run lead into things here, and Jeff Hoffman struck out the first batter. And now here's Pete Alonso. And that one will come in high, ball one. The 1-0 on the way. That misses as well. Ball two. Couple of close misses, but the Blue Jays are out of challenges. The winning run at third. It's Taylor Ward. Infield in. The 2-0 pitch. A strike. 2-1. Seabold comes set. And the pitch on the way. It's hit sharply into right. It's a base hit, and the Orioles will win it. Just a crushing defeat for the Blue Jays, who took a 4-run lead to the bottom of the ninth and looked like they were on the verge of extending their winning streak to 5. And Baltimore scores 5 runs in the bottom of the ninth to walk it off.
They talked about how big that W was yesterday and feeling like they kind of stole one away from the Orioles. Less than 24 hours later, the Orioles swipe one from the Jays. Alonso takes that fastball, blasts it right up the middle, and before you know it, the game is over. These are demoralizing losses. Even with this tough start from you, Savage, you feel like you hung in there, you feel like you add on, you feel like you're rolling, and then in the blink of an eye, it slips right from your fingertips. They felt high on top of the mountain yesterday, and now I'm sure they feel like they're down in the valley again. The grinds of a 162 baseball season continue to pound on the Blue Jays this year.
Can't think of a tougher loss this season, given taking a 4-run lead into the bottom of the ninth. It seemed like it was all but wrapped up, but they could not close the deal. They lose 6-5 and will finish the series tomorrow. Time now for Blue Jays Central again with Jamie and Chris.